We're going to get into our spells now. We talked a little bit about Photon Lead. Special summon one level 4 lower light type monster from my hand in face-up attack position. Really, really important. The fact that it's a quick play is what makes it so viable. Pod Duality we spoke about. I run 2 of those. 1 for 1. Okay. Our Hopper is a 1-star target. That is our only, besides like a Veiler. If you're like in some kind of like desperate straits, you could, I guess 1 for 1 your Veiler and synchro into something. But 1 for 1 is generally there to help establish that Hopper lock. So 1 for 1. Recycling batteries. Where this deck becomes a little bit difficult is kind of later mid-game, where we have so much stuff in our graveyard and they broke the lock. We still have 1 Hopper, we got 2 in the grave. So recycling batteries is a means of recycling those thunder monsters. Usually it's a Dragonfly, usually it's a Hopper. Usually it's a Hopper first before a Dragonfly. But 2 recycling batteries. I've run 3 before. 3 can be a little bit much. Infernal Reckless Summon is almost like that overkill, win more kind of card. But for me, because it has the ability from hand, deck, or graveyard, it can become really, really important at that kind of last moment where you have no more moves, where your Hoppers are in the graveyard. So, works really well with Dragonfly. I only run 1. Again, it's a win more card, so choose to take it out and replace it with something else. I don't have any MSTs in this deck, so some of these cards that are a little bit more kind of tech based could probably come out for like an MST. Cards like Messenger of Peace. Back in the day I used to run 2 of these. I run 1 now. I do have like a Lava Golem in the side, and that can be really fun too. I've actually at times run Lava Golem in the main deck as well, because there's nothing more fun than sending Lava Golem over there and having 2 Watt Hoppers. But without having a Lava Golem in the main deck, I only have 1 Messenger apiece. Again, that probably could also come out for like an MST. Foolish Burial is also tech in a way. If somebody really wants to put some MSTs in the deck, these cards probably would go away, or maybe these 2 cards would go away. But the rationale behind Foolish Burial is there are times where you only have 1 Watt monster in your graveyard, and recycling batteries becomes dead. You only have 4 monsters in your graveyard, and Pot of Avarice is dead. Because we can get at the graveyard from our Infernal Reckless, because we can get at the graveyard from Call of the Haunted, Foolish Burial actually becomes a really, really good card in establishing that lock. So 1 Foolish Burial, establishing the lock. Monster Reborn. Dark Hole, again you have to remember Dragonfly's effect. You can't Dark Hole your Dragonfly. You won't get it off. It has to be from your opponent's card, not your own card. Heavy Storm. So that kind of rounds off our spells. When we get into traps, again, protecting the lock, Dark Bribe. Yeah, they get to draw a card. They're locked. You know, so first and foremost, it's all about protecting that lock. Once they get around that lock, you're gonna have to do some work in terms of reestablishing. So Dark Bribe, we have them at 3. I do run Revolution over Starlight Road, and yeah, Starlight Road's cool. Having a Stardust Den out on the field is cool because you know he has some of those control aspects and things that you're looking to do and accomplish on your field. For me though, if I'm gonna place the lock as my chief concern, I want this to go off. I don't want them to break it. So having a counter trap is huge for me. So I prefer Revolution over Starlight Road. But again, you could replace these with Starlight Roads if you so choose. Call of the Haunted. Call of the Haunted is not necessarily there just to bring out a second Hopper, because then they can just MST the Call of the Haunted and they've broken your lock. Call of the Haunted works out really, really good if you need to kind of bring out, you know, they're attacking and you bring out that Dragonfly, it'll hold off that attack, give you another turn. So I do run 3 Call of the Haunteds. You could run less. If you run Foolish Burial, I would definitely run 3 Call of the Haunteds. but that's completely player preference. I like 3. And then the last card is Solemn Judgment. Protection, protection, protection. Solemn Judgment is the go-to guy. If you're swiping for 2,000-3,000 each turn, yeah, give him the 4,000. But I'd rather have this protected and give up, you know, the 4,000 maximum points that I could give away from a Solemn Judgment. So that pretty much takes care of the trap. Oh, you leave this here like this because it actually gives us something else to talk about here. It takes care of the trap lineup, and that's the entire deck, 40 cards. Extra deck, I'm not going to get too much into that. The only real time where I'll exceed is to go into like Shockmaster, just because of that control aspect of Shockmaster. Normally I don't want to give up my guys that easily, but Shockmaster is the one that, because he won't be protected by the lock, but he adds a whole other separate layer of protection to the lock that makes it worthwhile giving up some of these cards. Because of course too, you know, you get these into the grave, you can bring them back through other means. So you can then end up, you know, recycling batteries, the cards back and stuff like that. So he's worthwhile. A couple cards that are not in the deck that you guys could look at messing around with. I have at times run one Watt Fox. Watt Fox, if he's destroyed by my opponent's card, again this is battle or by card effect, then my opponent cannot special summon a monster or activate spell traps or spell trap effects or monster effects for the rest of that turn. So that's a great stall card, but more so than anything else, he's a 2-star tuner. And if I get this lock established, okay, and I search out my Watt Fox, summon my Watt Fox, this is a 6, okay? 6 can go into Watt Chimera. And Watt Chimera, when this lock is established, they're basically done. If they don't have any cards in their hand, or they don't have a card that can enable them to shuffle cards back into their deck, or shuffle their deck in any kind of way, they're done. Basically what Watt Chimera does is it can attack directly for 14, but when it applies battle damage to my opponent through direct attack, I can place one random card from their hand on the top of their deck. So basically what I'm saying is you have no answer for my lock right now. I'm going to take one card, I'm going to put it on the top of your deck, and you will continue every turn not to have an answer to my lock. And I'm going to keep blasting away, and I'm just going to play really conservative, keep swiping away, and now the field is locked, now their hand is locked, and they're really screwed. So I had just recently taken out Watt Fox. I had always run him, so please mess around with Watt Fox. I took him out just because it felt like overkill, like it was too much win more. But again, the sheer laughs by looping their hand is hilarious. Other 2 cards that might find their way into a side deck, Watt Pheasant and Watt Squirrel. Watt Pheasant is really cool in that he can attack direct for 1,000 and it removes your opponent's monster from the field until the end phase. The monster does come back, but let's say it was a monster with an XYZ monster with material. When the monster comes back, there's no more material. So Watt Pheasant is a great answer to some cards that might be giving you some problems that are XYZ monsters. Watt Squirrel is absolutely hilarious. This card can attack twice during each of your battle phase, which is kind of meaningless. The most important thing is this card, if this card battles, it negates the effects of a monster battled after damage calculation. And this includes the graveyard. So basically, if your monster attacks a face down Watt Squirrel, that monster's effects are completely negated. And when it goes to the graveyard and they bring it back, its effects are still negated. So basically, Watt Squirrel is a great answer to an effect monster that's giving you some problems. So this card might see way into your side deck as well. I never really main this, and there's a lot of times where I should side into this that I don't, only because most of the time they can't attack through the lock. Now they can attack set monsters, so I could set a squirrel and that set card is a completely valid target. Sure, it's a Watt monster, it's face down, it doesn't count, it's not locked. They can attack this face down and then the Watt Squirrel's effect goes off. This is also another way too that you can bait out more monsters if you're not drawing to, like if you need a Watt Cobra and you want to start populating your hand. you can actually establish this lock, set a Watt Dragonfly, and if they attack into it, Dragonfly's effect will go off. Okay, so that's another way by setting a monster that you can kind of work your lock. So that's pretty much it in terms of the deck, in terms of the Hopper lock. If you have any questions, put them down in the comments, and please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I love everybody to kind of come in, whether it's good, negative, praise, non-praise. Comment down below. I love all the interaction, and I'll be happy to answer any questions I can. Talk to you later.